Are you ready, kids? Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Shakira. Thank you so much for joining me today. So in this video, I'm going to be sharing with you some of the things that I wish I was a little bit more prepared for before going into labor or before giving birth to my daughter. These are just some things that I thought about after the fact that I wish I was just a little bit more prepared for or aware of. Obviously this is going to be based on my experience and what I went through, so there could be, you know, a lot of things that I could have prepared for, but this is just going to be based on me. And I figured this would be helpful for anyone who is expecting a child and, you know, just they want to be prepared for as many things as possible. So these are the things that I'm going to be talking about in today's video. Okay, so I have about 9 things here. If I think about a 10th one on the way, then I'll include it, but I have about 9 things here and I'm going to try to run through them as quickly as possible. I don't want this video to be too long, but then again, I always say that, so we'll see. Okay, so the very first thing that I wish I was more prepared for is I wish I was more prepared for skin to skin. I thought skin to skin was something that they did at the hospital to everyone who delivered their baby. I thought skin to skin was just something that is just part of the routine of giving birth. Like they take the baby out, they put the baby on you, they leave the baby on you, all that stuff. I thought that was normal. I thought that they were gonna do that and I didn't really have to like request it or ask for it. But unfortunately, after the fact, that's when I learned that you actually need to tell them you want to do skin to skin. When my baby came out, they did put my baby on me, but then they took the baby away to go weigh him. I had a girl. They took the baby away to go weigh her and do all her vitals and her numbers and stuff like that, and I didn't really have that long of a time doing skin to skin with her. At this point in my labor, I was tired, I was exhausted, I was emotional, so I wasn't even thinking about, you know, when they took the baby away, like I wasn't even thinking about like the whole skin to skin thing. I thought they were gonna do all that and then bring the baby back to me, but that didn't happen. So I wish I was a little bit more prepared for that. You know, I wish that, you know, I made it clear that I want to do skin to skin like for a longer period of time. I only held my baby for about a minute or 2 and then they took her away to go do all that other stuff. So if you are someone that is pregnant and you do want to do the whole skin to skin thing, make sure you tell them like ahead of time, I want to do skin to skin. I want my husband or my baby's father to also do skin to skin. Literally, you have to request it, because if you don't, they're gonna assume that, you know, you're gonna hold your baby for a little bit and then they're gonna take the baby away. So make sure you indicate to them that you want to do skin to skin. Okay, so another thing that I wish I was a little bit more prepared for was I wish I was more prepared for my body to cleanse itself. This is gonna be TMI a little bit, but once you're in labor, your body goes into this cleansing mode where it's gonna get rid of everything that's basically in your system, either by throwing up or by pooping. And I was not aware of that. I didn't know that. I feel like maybe I knew that, but it was like in the back of my mind. But when I was in labor, my body was cleansing itself, and let's just say I wasn't puking all night during my labor process. I didn't mention this in my labor and delivery video. All night I was basically pooping, just getting rid of everything that I had eaten that day. And by the time, you know, I was ready to deliver my baby by the time I was ready to deliver my baby, there was nothing left in me. So I didn't poop myself when I delivered my baby. At least I don't know that I pooped myself, but I felt like there's nothing left in me. I hadn't eaten, I hadn't drank anything, and I was pooping all night. So when it was time to deliver her, I guarantee you there was no poop, okay? Nothing. So And I'm kind of glad that it was that way, because if you guys know me, you guys know I hate throwing up. I hate it. And yeah, so I wish I was a little bit more prepared for my body to cleanse itself. Another thing that I personally wish I was more prepared for is spending more time at the hospital. You know, the normal amount of time, quote unquote normal amount of time, is about 2 to 3 days. And for my situation, I wish I had been prepared a little bit more to spend more time, because we were there for about 7 days, 6 or 7 days, and I didn't really have enough stuff in my little hospital bag to last 7 days. Eventually my husband had to go home and, you know, get us little things here and there. We were basically living in that hospital room. I didn't really do much in terms of changing my clothes, because I wore like the same robe and all that stuff for a few days. I did shower, but I just wish I was a little bit more prepared to stay longer. So if you are someone that is pregnant, I would say, you know, pack your hospital bag with, you know, 3 to 4 outfits, and then maybe throw in like a 5th just in case. I don't know. All right, another thing that I wish I was more prepared for, and this is a little bit personal. So after you have your baby, and you know, the overwhelming feeling of joy and happiness, and you just feel amazing. That feeling is real, but afterwards, that feeling, it doesn't go away, but it's almost like it kind of turns into fear, a little bit of anxiety, and just scared, because now that your baby is out in the world, you want to do everything in your power to protect your baby, and you are so aware how crazy and dangerous, you know, the world is, that it almost scares you a little bit. So you kind of, you know, feel a little bit sad in a way. You know, I remember on our way home from the hospital, after spending 7 days in the hospital, driving home with her was like the scariest thing I have ever experienced in my life. I didn't want anything to happen to her. I was like overthinking everything. Did we strap her in well? Is the car seat, you know, in the car properly? Are the doors locked? You know, it's a very scary feeling. Then when she finally, you know, came home and she was in our home, you know, that feeling of now we have to take care of her, and we have to do everything in our power to, you know, make sure she is safe. So like for me, I was very, very, very anxious, but I tried not to let that get the best of me, because I am an anxious person to begin with, and if I let that get the best of me, it can turn into something else. So although I was very, very anxious, I didn't stay in that place for too long, but I wish I was just a little bit more prepared to, you know, transition from, you know, love and joy over to like fear and anxiousness. Another thing that I wish I was more prepared for is, like, once I had given birth and we had moved over to our room, I wish I was more prepared for all the doctors, the nurses that were going to be coming in and checking in on me. I didn't know that that was going to happen. And the thing is, they all ask you relatively the same questions, and it's almost like you don't know how to feel, because you told one doctor that you're feeling fine, and then here comes another nurse who's also asking the same question. It's like, I already said this. I don't really want to be talking about this right now. I just delivered my baby. I am tired. Thing is, after like our original discharge day, you know, 2 to 3 days later, no nurses, no doctors came to visit, because technically I was like out of the system. So for the first 3 days that we were in the hospital, like, so many doctors and so many nurses came in, and then after that no one came in. Like, they knew we were in the room, but no one came to check in on us after that, you know. So I thought that was interesting. Another thing that I wish I was more prepared for, well, me and my husband, I wish we were more prepared for, is all the paperwork that we had to do at the hospital. We got so much paperwork that we had to sign and, you know, bring back and all of that stuff, and it was it was a lot. It was a lot. And, you know, we weren't quite prepared for all that paperwork. We did do it because we were there for such a long time. But it was a lot of paperwork, and it was a lot of serious paperwork too, because it was like asking for like our daughter's name and, you know, all this information that like literally just happened. Like we just gave birth to her, and, you know, we're already having to like sign her away to the government almost. Let the government know that another baby is here. Like it was just, it was a lot. So I wasn't prepared for it. I don't think my husband was prepared for it, but we ended up doing it anyways. It's just, it's a lot of business type of stuff, you know, when you deliver at the hospital. So, you know, I wish I was a little bit more prepared for that. Overall, I feel like we handled it all pretty well. So like, I'm not complaining. I'm just saying it's a lot. Another thing that I wish we were more prepared for is finding a pediatrician. I'm telling you this right now. Find a pediatrician like as soon as possible. Like people were telling us this and honestly, like it's not like we didn't listen, it's just we didn't really get to it as soon as, you know, we wanted to. And because I had delivered like a whole week and a half sooner, I was thinking I can find a pediatrician next week. It's okay, but the sooner the better, because, you know, my baby was in the NICU for such a long time. You know, they wanted to make sure that we had a pediatrician to take her to the following day that we took her out of the hospital. So I suggest look for a pediatrician a good month in advance of your due date, so that you don't have to think about it once you're in the hospital and, you know, God forbid anything happens and you have to stay there longer. At least you know you have a pediatrician when you leave that hospital, and you'll be good. All right, so another thing that I wish I was more prepared for is breastfeeding. This is kind of like a little touchy subject for me, and maybe I'll make a, you know, video dedicated to it later on, maybe not, I'm not too sure. But I wish I was more prepared for breastfeeding in terms of simply breastfeeding may not be for everyone and every child, because if you watch my labor and delivery story, you know that my baby was in the NICU for 7 days and her blood sugar was low, so they had to you know, give her formula from a bottle because my milk hadn't come in yet and I wasn't producing enough, and they wanted to make sure she had enough, you know, like food in her system so her glucose could, you know, maintain itself. I guess with that being said, like it's like she kind of got used to the bottle, and then in a sense I kind of got used to giving her the bottle. But at this point I'm giving her mostly bottle than I am giving her the breast. And it does make me feel a little bit sad that I'm doing that, but it only makes me feel sad because I feel like so many people, you know, judge because of that. I don't know. So it's just something that I would have to just get more comfortable with. As long as my baby is, you know, healthy and she's thriving and she's hitting all her milestones, I'm perfectly fine with that. And I just kind of wish other people were, you know, a little bit more sensitive to women, you know, who breastfeeding may not be for, in all honesty. All right, so I got a little bit personal there. So the last thing that I have here on my list, which is the 9th thing, and I have not really been able to think of a 10th thing. So the last thing that I have here on my list is pictures and videos. Be prepared for pictures and videos. Like, this is something that I replayed in my head over and over and over and over and over again, like when I was pregnant. And then when we were there at the hospital, we had like so much time and we didn't do anything. We didn't really record any video, and we didn't really take any like photos. Like when I was like in labor and delivering and that whole process, we didn't really capture as much as I would have wanted to, you know. Like I've been able to take what I can and, you know, create the videos that I create, But you know, looking back on it, I really wish that, you know, the whole process of me being in labor and having my contractions and stuff like that, I would have loved to seen that right now, because I don't know, like all of that is just a blur to me, and I would have loved to just seen what I went through, you know, having those contractions. I would have loved to see, you know, a little bit of me like pushing my baby out. I would have just loved to like capture more moments, and unfortunately we didn't. And it's just one of those things where when you're in the moment, you're not really like thinking, you're not thinking like that. You're just like trying to remain calm and try not to freak out. I'm trying to get through this contraction. My husband is trying to get some sleep, and I just wish I was more prepared for that. Capture as many moments as possible, even if you don't feel like it, like you're just having one of those contractions, you don't feel like it, just set up a camera somewhere to just capture these little moments and just forget about it. It doesn't have to be, you know, a camera all up in your face. Just, you know, set up something somewhere, because I guarantee you are gonna want to watch that after. I know you will. Okay, so I'm about to end this video because now my baby is about to wake up for real this time. The first time she had just fussed and I checked on her and she was fine. Yeah, so she's definitely gonna wake up now. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for watching. I hope this was helpful, and don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you guys on my next upload. Bye.